And now, whoa, that came out of nowhere. Let's try that again.
And now we return to the world of fantasy and science fiction and zombies and cowboys and a bunch of other things. We're SideQuests Live.
Hey, Internet. Yeah, my name is Todd, and we're going to be playing a game in just a few seconds. It's called Tree of Wands. It is the rediscovered world system made by some buddies of mine, and we're going to be playing it here live on Twitch and YouTube, and you could be joining us right now that way, but you might be joining us by the podcast. So we're really excited that you can do that, and thank you very much. And if you feel like hitting that like or subscribe button, please do so. It really means a lot to us to have your support and spread the word and so on. So find us in all the podcast places. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to dive in and meet at the table and get some storytelling going. All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm being told 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So, my name's Brendan. I'm going to be the GM tonight. I'm also going to be keeping the volume down because I've got a little one downstairs who's trying to fall asleep.
It's our
we don't have to...
ASMR game.
Yes, I'm gonna crinkle some plastic in your ear now. For some reason, people enjoy that. I don't get it, but okay.
I kind of like
weird.
the sound of my headphones closing if you listen real careful.
Yeah,
Nice.
that isn't it.
Just a nice little.
It's very
satisfying.
satisfying.
Yeah.
Very satisfying. Okay, we've got a pretty small table here tonight. Jay, you're joining us again as your Highland Minotaur.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Scott Cow is here.
Awesome.
Scott Cow.
And we've got Todd rejoining us as the Tanuki, Elroy.
Yeah, I got it covered.
Elroy, the Tanuki.
And we've got Bo, who's rejoining us as the vampire.
Yeah, you know me.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm doing something a little bit different tonight, which is not to thrust you immediately into combat, since that's what I did in the last session. Just immediate violence. This session is going to be more about mystery. And the way this is going to operate is I'll sort of lead you in as far as the story is concerned, but you can interact with any of the NPCs in this new setting that I'm going to sort of roll out for you. And I'm going to ask you for D6 rolls. These are your communication rolls, right? There's no charisma in this game. You guys actually ask the questions.
The
that you
charisma's
wanna
all
ask.
over here at the table. The real life people. That's where it's at.
So ask the questions you want to ask, or what have you. Roll your D6, and I'll tell you what you can figure out. And basically, if you manage to solve this mystery, there will be good campaign level effects. If you fail to solve the mystery, you'll still survive. Things will be fine. We'll move back into the sort of main campaign. So it's kind of like a bonus round. So let's get started. You might recall that in the last session, after Kemet the wizard was killed, he left you with a note. He left you with a message that said that there is another spellcaster who can cast the spell using the idol of Kapha to save the Tree of Wands, which is kind of a central quest in this campaign called the Tree of Wands. You can find this spellcaster in a little known place called Dreadville. And there is a map, not a very good map, not a very detailed map, but there's a map that leads you to one of the many Vesper hills that surround Avondale in Southumbria. And now that you have an airship, a rickety, tiny, floating rowboat type airship, you are able to sort of putter, sputter, clickety-clack all the way over to that Vesper Hill and spend about a day or two kind of looking around. And you're looking for a place called Dreadville. And some of you already know, because you rolled sufficiently high, that Dreadville is a mysterious, rumored place where undead creatures exist together peacefully. It's kind of a weird idea, and you have your doubts as to whether it even exists. But after your second day of searching, moving around one of these Vesper Hills, and you see what looks like almost a sort of a lake that's kind of spilling out at the base of one of these very rocky, craggy hills. And looking at the water, you can't see more than a foot into it. It's quite, it looks quite toxic, frankly, and it has a bit of a reek to it. Like this is not the kind of water that fish would live in. Like this looks really, really terrible. And you see pretty far away, farther than you'd like to swim, particularly in this water, a lonely figure who's just slowly paddling this one tiny ship. And it's not a ship, it's almost a canoe, essentially, but he's standing up, but he's heavily cloaked. You can't see his face. And the ship has one metal pole on it, and there's a lantern hanging from that pole. And he's slowly paddling, just not going anywhere in particular. He's just sort of paddling back and forth. And as you get closer, you see that what he's holding as a paddle is actually a spine. It's a long spine, longer than a human spine. And on his head is one of these cone-shaped hats, like a straw cone-shaped hat that you might see east of the Everwall in places like the Konami Islands. And perhaps Elroy, being a Tanuki, might sort of recognize this. You guys can roll intelligence if you want to try and remember what this thing is.
With my...
I have...
Well, 8 is high. And I'm going to say that because Elroy is a Tanuki and maybe he spent some time in the East, you might know what this is. This is a Shikigami, which is a cursed servant. It's an undead thing that serves its master and is usually tasked with doing something over and over and over again. So this particular thing seems to be just paddling around in this pool of death. So you can certainly call out to it, but you wouldn't want to go swimming in this water. And there's really no place that you can kind of like land your airship in the water. So from the shore, you can try to call out to him.
Yeah, I'm going to let everybody else know about that. What do we want to do? I guess we got to make contact, right?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Does anybody speak undead guy?
Do they
Undead
take
things can speak.
money?
An undead thing can speak whatever language it was able to speak before it died. Also, they can learn new languages in theory.
I know, I was just being insensitive.
Oh.
Hello?
How's it going?
Hello?
Hey, we're up here. Look up.
We
And
need a
you
way
hear this.
here.
You hear
his
this
neck bent funny.
creepy voice just drifting across the water towards you, and it goes, "Go back. Go back."
That sounds like pretty sound advice.
All right, let's go.
I'm convinced.
The end.
The end.
Mystery not solved.
Oh, right. Fate of the world.
Is there
all of that.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I need to do this.
we cannot go back.
Only forward.
Always forward. You get that? Yeah, you get that.
So the same voice kind of drifts out over this poisoned water, and he goes, "This way lieth only death."
So I'm okay with that.
Well, every step you take is a step closer to death, really.
And then,
So what you gotta say about that, Mr. Bones?
so he starts paddling towards you, and you can't yet see his face or his hands or anything. He's just paddling closer, and he goes, "Where do you seek to go?"
We seek to go to Dreadville.
And he throws off the cloak, and he's like, "Good visitors! I love visitors!"
Amazing.
And he's actually this very boisterous. He has a skeletal face, but he's clearly more than just your standard, cemetery skeleton. Like there's just this glowing green behind his, where his eye sockets are. And he starts paddling towards you, and the whole time he's paddling, he's kind of sort of hopping from one end, from one foot to the other, like he's so excited. And the boat is kind of wobbling back and forth a little bit, like you're a little worried it's gonna tip over. And he comes closer, and he's like, "Oh, we so rarely get visitors. I'm so happy." So he's like, "Come in, come aboard." And so he welcomes you aboard. And he starts paddling you through this strange lake. I mean, I don't want to say it's a huge lake. It's somewhere between a lake and a pond. And he starts paddling you through, and you can tell there's just this sort of almost like a rainbow colored sheen on top. Like this is pretty poisonous water. And he paddles you around to this tiny crack in the side of the Vesper Hill, and it's this tiny crack in the rock, and the boat just barely manages to squeeze through. And he squeezes through, and you see there's a tunnel and a very, very deep black cave. And so the lantern that was there, it suddenly kind of stirs to life, and there's actually a will-o-wisp inside, which just looks like a very bright ember. It kind of stirs to life, and you can see it kind of flying around inside this glass lamp, and sort of banging itself against, like a bee trapped in a bottle. And it lights the way, and your boatman starts talking to you. He goes, "My name's Kenji. I'm a Shikigami. Oh, I get to greet all the visitors who come to Dreadville. I love it so much."
How many visitors do you tend to get?
And so because I have to keep the volume down, I can't do the really exuberant voice. So I'm just going to keep to my whisper voice.
He's exuberant, but with laryngitis.
So Kenji, the Shikigami, starts telling you about Dreadville, the sort of secret town for the undead. And he starts talking about the town's founding and the people who come by, and he tells you this really bizarre story that you've never heard before, which is the story of a saint called Saint Malison. Saint Malison was actually a lich. There was an evil lich that, after a long campaign of terror and evil, suddenly, inexplicably converted to the worship of Thamos, and did nothing but good deeds from that moment onward. And she took all of her undead, and she commanded them to do good things, dig trenches and plow fields, and plant trees, do whatever she could. And eventually she was destroyed. But in her honor, a small number of villagers made a statue. And then, by some unexplained miracle, and no one knows exactly why, the statue started to weep blood, and it just continuously weeps blood. And so some vampires who were trying to be non-violent, they petitioned the king in Tarvan to take that statue and move it to a place where it could be cared for, because the blood could actually feed vampires, lots of vampires. In fact, the blood is very tasty to vampires. It's
I'm going to
nourishing,
pass La
fantastic.
Habrea a napkin to wipe their chin.
And so
Sounds
this
delightful.
statue of Saint Malison, the king granted them a charter, like a town charter, and said, go ahead and take the statue. You can go to a place where nobody would want to be. And the king granted them a title to an abandoned lead mine way out in Southumbria where nobody would find them. And so zombies, vampires, skeletons, ghosts, they all started congregating in this place, and they decided to call it Dreadville. And they love visitors, but they don't get them very often because it's a secret town, and also because a lot of people, if they knew about Dreadville, would probably seek to destroy it. So Kenji tells you there's
What's
some
with all
problems
the
with
pitchforks, guys?
Yeah, they have a difficult existence. See, every now and again, some overzealous paladins try to invade to sort of purge the land
Oh God,
of
tell
the
me about it.
undead. Yeah.
Seriously?
And also, they have problems from the other side of the spectrum too, which is every now and again, an evil lich will show up and try to say that he is the king of Dreadville and try and sort of press them all into service. So what they did was they flooded the area around the entrance with the tailings ponds from the abandoned lead mine. So there's this huge gulf of poisoned water that is useful for protection. But they welcome visitors. And Kenji goes on and he says that, in fact, Dreadville is the only place that has a school for witchcraft. It's the only school for witchcraft in the entire, in all of Tiberia. It's Our Lady of Dreadful Wickedness. And so students can come to Our Lady of Dreadful Wickedness and learn some real witchcraft. Anyways, he's very chatty. If you want to ask him any specific questions, you can.
OLDW. Sorry, that was probably like some sort of.
Go ahead.
Is there anybody that you know that might be alive living in your town? Like, we're looking for someone particular.
There are, he's quite proud of this, there are 5 people who live in Dreadville. There's a witch who is the head teacher at Our Lady of Frightful Wickedness. And her name is Brunhilde.
Okay.
And there are 4 students who are living. Other than that, there's nearly 100 undead.
Did Kemet specify the name of this person we're seeking out? Or if they were alive or dead, or undead, rather?
Did not. Kemet just said that there was a spellcaster in Dreadville.
Interesting. It's an obvious person to be the witch, but I feel like it's almost too easy. So you said there's been vampires here, is that correct? What's this guy's name?
Kenji.
Kenji, you said that vampires have come to live here. Has there been one by the name of Sidolphus who has come through Dreadville?
He sort of stops and he kind of like strokes his jawbone for a little bit, and he's like, He's like, no, that name doesn't ring a bell.
Interesting. Okay. Might be too lively for him. Where might we find this
the undead
Brunhilde?
lively jokes? I love it. Sorry.
Where might we find this Brunhilde?
Give me a roll at the D6.
Okay. Just a straight D6?
Is that everybody or just whoever's asking
Whoever's asking the question.
Okay. That is a 6.
Well, she teaches at the university. Our Lady of Frightful Wickedness. You could go there. She usually has classes. It's a pretty easy building to spot. It's got all kinds of black ivy on it. Can't miss it.
Okay, I think we'll pay a visit there.
Sorry, what was that?
I said that was a waste of a 6.
It kind of was. I was going to give it to you pretty much for any roll.
Yeah. Oh. To visit Brunhilde, do we need to bring anything? Does she require gifts?
Everybody likes gifts.
That's what he's going to say. He's going to say everybody likes gifts.
Okay.
And he says, "Oh, look, we've reached the necropolis." And with this bony hand, this super bony hand, he sort of points out over the water, and you see the shore. And it's really like a small village that's tightly packed in by the walls, the glittering walls of this abandoned mine. It's actually galena, which, if you know where lead often comes from, it's sort of like a gray silver crystalline looking stuff, and basically it has to be ground up to smelt lead out of. And there's other stuff in there as well. There's usually like zinc and silver and stuff like that. And so the walls are all of this glittering crystals of galena, and within this dome, this cave, are all these houses, and they all look like mausoleums or like haunted castles, and they're all kind of leaning this way or that way or crumbling, and nothing is straight or even. Everything is kind of like either up on the side of a hill or down, and structures are all kind of sort of slightly decayed, and the paths are all bumping and winding and crumbling. There are a lot of black wrought iron fences that are separating things for no particular reason, and then there are jack-o'-lanterns that are placed all along the sides of the roads to sort of light them up, almost like street lamps. But the jack-o'-lanterns, they're not glowing orange. They're glowing with a sort of eerie turquoise color. There's some kind of turquoise moonstone perhaps inside, and then you've got these clouds of mist that are kind of drifting all over everything.
I gotta say, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but this is kind of exactly like I pictured it.
I dig the vibe.
Mysteriously, and there's no conceivable explanation. There's no explanation for this, but there is a very obvious pirate ship that has just been wrecked on the shore of this poisoned tailings pond. And so there's like a shattered hold, and there are masts that poke all the way into the ceiling and are broken, and there are all these sails that are all ripped and tattered, and the whole thing looks certainly not seaworthy. It looks quite rotten. And as you get closer to the shore, you can hear music. You can hear the flapping of bats up on the ceiling, and you can hear music. And it's very odd, unsettling music that has a lot of like tubas and stuff like that. It's and like a little rattling drums and some really high-pitched kind of like flute or something. The whole place is very unsettling. But Kenji, once he gets to the shore, he goes, "Whoa, I can't step onto the shore. I'm stuck here in the boat. It's part of my curse, So anyway, please enjoy your stay in Dreadville, and be sure to come and see me on the way out." That's a joke. There's no other way out.
I like your sense of humor.
I'm gonna give him a tip. I'd like to give him a tip. Like a gold coin. Couple gold coins.
That's good.
Yeah.
So he takes the gold coin and he kind of sticks it in his eye socket, and he's like, "He's looking at you, kid."
It's actually angled a little weird for actually looking at him. You down. That's it. There you go.
Okay, so it's pretty easy for you to get the lay of the land just by kind of standing there and looking around. In Dreadville, up at the top of a hill, there's a very clear like necropolis. It's like a very big mausoleum, and there are like urns and sort of recessed areas, and there are like statues of like women who bent over weeping. Like it's like a very elaborate necropolis. And then over on one side there's a very clear mine head. Like it's got that sort of like square structure, and then like some almost train tracks that would sort of lead into it. That must be where the mine is continuing to operate. There is a cathedral, which you assume must be the Cathedral of St. Malison. It has a crooked clock tower, and it has a lot of stained glass, but all of the stained glass scenery is like dancing skeletons and things like that. Like, you know, they're all sort of in those like those funny skeleton poses. There is a large building that has fluted marble columns, and also black ivy that's sort of twisting around the columns. And if you look closely, you'll see that actually the marble has been carved into motifs that look almost like candy, almost like the whole thing is made of candy. And so you assume that must be Our Lady of Frightful Wickedness. There is something that appears to be almost like a dance hall. There's something that appears to be like a ballroom. There are various little shops. And then there are haunted houses, just like random haunted houses, kind of like on pretty much every sort of spare corner. Like it's very tightly packed. Anyways, oh, and of course there's the shipwreck. So where do you want to go? What do you want to see? And remember, there's quite a number of NPCs in this town that you might bump into at any point. You can talk to any of them.
Well, we might as well go straight to the school.
Get to the chase.
Yes, I see no reason why not.
All right. So you head up straight to the school, and you see that it's actually it's like clay bricks and marble, and this black ivy is actually kind of moving. Like every now and again, it kind of like repositions itself so that it's twisted around these columns. And as you get closer, you see broomsticks that are actually just sweeping. They're just constantly sweeping by themselves. And as you go inside, there appear to be several different areas. There's some kind of a study hall that has some books and things on shelves. There's a room that has a bunch of big black cauldrons in it, almost like a cauldron laboratory, and it has a lot of, you know, roots and herbs and things hanging from the rafters. And then there's what appears to be like a dormitory area. And inside you see a couple of students. They're both girls, and they're both wearing I'll call it a uniform that would not be considered decent in Tarvan, or in some of the more puritanical parts of Tiberia. You know, they've got like, I'll say, striped knee socks, and then they have the classic witch hat, you know, with the cone at the top that's kind of bent, and then the buckle up in the front. Anyways, and they seem to be talking. They, you know, like they gotta be like, I don't know, maybe 20 years old or something like that. And they're like talking and laughing, and they don't seem to be like studying too hard. So you can speak to them, or you can continue on to see if you can find this Brunhilde.
I vote continue on.
Okay. So you continue on into into that cauldron room, and you actually do see this kind of very classic, stout-looking witch, who's got frizzled gray hair that's sort of tied back in a bun, and then there's the witch hat sitting on top, and she has a great big nose, and she's got one sort of gangle tooth that's sticking out, and she's basically stirring this cauldron with a stick. Like a literal stick, not like a wooden spoon, but a stick. And you go in, and you can really smell the hops and the yeast. Like she's clearly brewing beer. And there's actually some bottles around as well. And she looks up at you and she goes, "Oh, are you interested in rolling?"
Rolling, you say?
Enrolling in the school.
Enrolling. Oh.
I mean, that's how I enroll. I'm
I'm
sorry.
interested in beer.
I was raised in a circus. You have to forgive my sense of humor.
So she introduces herself as Brunhild, and she says that she brews witch's brew, which is a type of beer here, and they actually export it from Dreadville. And she says that if you want, you can buy some, and that if you want to enroll, it will be 1,000 pirate gold pieces.
Pirate gold pieces, you say?
She says that the only currency that is accepted in Dreadville is pirate gold, and she takes out a coin, and you can actually see that it has the Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones on both sides.
Huh.
And she says, if you don't have these, then you don't have any. Then you don't have any currency here.
Hey, is there a bank around where we can do some transactions? And maybe...
Yeah, what's the exchange rate like?
Yeah.
She says you have to talk.
And this is going to be a tourist trap when we can smell that a mile away.
She says you'll have to talk to the mayor. The mayor is a vampire named Wenceslas.
Did you say that?
Vampire.
How long have they been the mayor?
Wenceslas has been the mayor since the beginning. He was one of the original vampire lords who petitioned to have the statue of St. Malison brought here and to have the town founded.
Fantastic. So they're not likely to be a crazy murderer guy.
Okay, jolly fella.
Vampires are murdering, thieving bastards, every single one of them.
Dreadful indeed.
Let's not all be quick to anger.
Let's not be hasty.
Our hosts are a wonderful blend of beings that are currently not eating our faces, and we want to keep that. The most tasty looking beef hamburger looking dude should remember.
So I'll cut to the chase here.
Don't cut anything. Don't cut anything.
Well, I'll get to the point, as it were.
Okay.
Cut my teeth. So, Dame Brunhilde, we were told to come here by a dear friend of ours to
know him.
Huh?
Perhaps you know him. Have you heard? Are you friends with a man named Kenneth?
Does the name ring a bell?
And she does that thing where she bites her tongue and then spits into the cauldron. And she says, "No, never heard of him."
Can I do a check to see if she's lying?
Yeah,
sure,
that's...
roll d6.
That just seems, I don't know.
Do it, Elroy.
1.
You have no idea. But she says never heard of him.
Anything. I don't know where
Never heard of him,
is.
What if we told you the fate of the wilds at stake and all that stuff? Does that stir you a little bit, your memory?
So she picks up the stick and she kind of whacks it against the cauldron a bit, and she says, "I told you, I don't know him. If he's not a witch, I don't know who he might be. But you could ask around in town."
You know someone who knows him?
Give me a d6 roll.
A 5.
That's pretty good. Well, so she says, "I don't, but you might try the occult shop. There's a mummy there named Khufu."
Do you
Oof.
have steak in the occult shop? Are you
Do I
trying
have?
to just make me spend my money?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Did you ask her if she has steak?
Like a steak in it. Do you have a
Beef
piece of it?
steak. Beef steak.
Don't remind them that
He's
you
gonna
are
be
a
like-
delicious steak-like
Fucking
creature.
She's gonna be like, no, and go away, and or I'll turn you into a frog.
I mean, that could be an anyway.
Anyway.
I suspect this is not who we're looking for. Perhaps a mummy might be a little more who the person or thing we're looking for.
We were
It's a bit more
gonna bring,
ancient.
we were gonna bring you a gift. Well, fuck you now. You can't have it. Plus, you don't really have it.
You know, let's just I try to usher him out of the way. Let's just get out of here.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Let's go talk to the gals before we leave, and
Yeah.
then go to the occult shop. I mean, we don't have time to dilly dally. Although I wouldn't mind looking at a couple of the gift shops, and I'm curious.
Not a bad idea.
Well, we have to exit through there anyway, so it's okay.
So
And
let's
then
go
let's-
talk to the gals on the way out.
Sure.
One of the students, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so
Students.
as you leave, there's only one left. The other one may left or flown off or something. But there's one there, and she's human, and she is not studying. She's kind of like loitering. Like, you know, she's got like the little pouches for like spells and you know, like hex bags and all that kind of stuff, and like she has a wand, but she's kind of like using it to like, you know, pick under her nails and stuff. And she sees you, and she's kind of like leaning against like one of the pillars, and she sees you, and she's
La
like,
Brea, go speak her language.
What is she like?
huh? She's like,
What do we?
what are you doing here?
Well, I was asking the same question. What's she's human?
She's human.
She's human. What's a lovely young human like yourself doing down in a place like Dreadville?
I pass
What
him
brought you
another
to-
napkin to wipe his drooly chin.
So give it a roll.
All right. 5.
Oh, so she's like, oh, well, you know, I just take some classes here. Just like, my mom's like a witch or something. So she wants me to be a witch, but it's like totally not my thing.
Interesting. It seems like must be more of a vocation.
Ask her if she knows Kemet, or maybe her mother knows Kemet. Ask her.
Well, I'm gonna ask in a slightly roundabout way. Just what sort of classes are you taking with Mistress Brunhilda?
Like potions and I don't know, cauldron stuff. And then like we've got other teachers too, like
Oh, really?
yeah, there's like a vampire, his name's Guillaume, and
Guillaume.
he's supposed to like teach us some other stuff, but I'm not that interested.
Do any of your teachers teach anything like creating or cursing an object? Maybe how to destroy a curse? Is that something that you cover in your classes here?
You could ask Guillaume. He seems to like talking, but maybe he just likes talking to me because I'm like really pretty.
My heart kind of beats a little faster. Cheeks get a little flush. I'm like,
I mutter quietly, I think, to Scott Cower that she can't hear, and I'm like,
You know, I'm kind of okay if he eats this one.
Talking about why would he eat her?
I know I meant this
Wait,
one, and I
with my
pull a
eyes.
snack
With
out of
my
my
eyes.
bag.
Do you want one?
Where might we find Guillaume?
all the vampires like to hang out at that crystal ballroom. That place is so ick.
Little ballroom. All right, I think we can. In which way would that be?
And she like kind of like points with her wand, but she kind of like puts one hand on the hip and is like as if like the ennui, like the existence, like the weight of existence is like kind of like crushing her, and she kind of like lazily kind of points with her wand off in the distance, and you see this place that it looks like it has like the minute you look at it, you hear like a creepy organ music just sound this one note, and then a bunch of bats fly away from it.
That's our place. So I gently grab her hand and offer a kiss, bowing slightly, and we start moseying on over to the crystal room.
You're weird. You're weird.
Me or her? Or both? Probably both.
Yeah, you're weird.
Okay,
I am indeed.
So,
I mean,
just
to
to
be
keep
fair,
track.
she's probably young enough to be your like great. Anyway,
Why would he be so old all of a sudden? Why he doesn't look that old?
nah,
Because
he's got a great
Jackie's
skin
I
not
care
moisturize. Yeah, I do really do.
Because Jackie's not here, and you guys probably aren't taking
Yeah.
studious notes the way she would. I'm going to the way they would. Sorry, I'm going to keep track of who you've met. You've met Kenji, the Shikigami, who's the
okay.
boatman. You've met Brunhilde, the witch teacher, who's also a brewer. And you've met Eunice, who is a, let's say, bratty human student.
That tracks.
That's Eunice. Okay.
Let's go to the occult shop, since we'll just do things in order of the missions that we have been given. What do you say?
We can do the
you've been
occult and
given
then.
a cult shop, but also the crystal ballroom for the vampires.
Right.
Yeah, we've got 2 places to go, so.
Well, technically 3, because we should probably go see Wenceslas as well, the mayor. But he may be the crystal room, so we could maybe get 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, maybe they'll do the occult shop first.
But I'm not spending any money.
I don't think they'll accept our currency.
Can I try to quietly see if I can look for an opening to pick Scott Cow's pocket?
What?
It doesn't have to happen right now, but I'm keeping an eye out for the opportunity. He's just a
Are
little
you-
too tight with the bag.
Okay.
Good God, man.
So where are you gonna walk over to?
Wait. We should try the mayor first and try to get some money.
Hmm.
Get
That's
around
right.
this place with no money.
Yeah.
Although I
That's
plan
true.
on spending.
Yeah, maybe mayor first. Introduce ourselves to the big wig.
Change.
Yeah.
Talk to the head, not to the foot. Or, sorry, hoof.
Knee.
So you in that case you head up the hill towards the necropolis, and as you're going, you see a couple of skeletons, and they're very nicely dressed. They have like pinstripe suits, and they're like walking, and they have kind of like that jaunty step that skeletons do. And as you get closer, you notice that they both have an orange marigold sort of pinned to their lapel, and both of them have like tattoos like on the bones of their faces, and the tattoos are very like they're very floral and nice looking. And these aren't like the decrepit skeletons that you've seen and heard about that are sort of like, guarding crypts with bows and arrows and like rusty swords. Like these are like some pretty dapper looking skeletons. And as they pass by, they both of them go, "Ahoy! Ahoy!" to you.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
And they go,
And with
Ahoy, my
the
good
name.
woman.
and one of them stops and goes, Oh, it's great to see you. We don't very often get visitors here. Hey, Jose. And the other one is like, no, we don't get visitors very often at all. It's so nice to see you.
It's wonderful to be seen.
Indeed.
Jose, and who might you be?
I am Julio.
Julio.
Hi, Julio.
El
I'm
gusto es mío.
You know a man named Kemet? Have you heard of a man named Kemet before? Do you know a man named Kemet? Have you heard of a man named Kemet?
Roll a d6.
nice.
It's not Kermit, it's Kemet.
I rolled the one.
Sick.
Gotta get
They're
him out
like-
of the way.
And they basically aren't listening to you. They're like, they start talking to each other, and they're like, anyways, so they turn back to you and they say, if you have time, you should definitely come to the dance hall. We call it the Boneyard.
So it's different in the
That
crystal
actually sounds
room.
pretty sick.
That does sound pretty sick.
Yeah.
Do you like maracas and marimbas and stuff like that?
Everybody's got a plug in this place. They're telling us to go.
Quick question. We do need. Is there like an entry fee, and how can we get some coin?
We just
And they
Finished.
say they were part of the original pirate crew, and that there's lots of ways to make coin in Dreadville. And they start thinking about it, and they're like, well, you can mine. You know that a lot of zombies like to mine down in the Galena mine. What else?
Let's go mining. Sounds like a great time. Wee.
We are
yeah.
on a bit of a schedule.
You didn't come here to
They-
like get proper
Can
jobs.
I inhale some more shitty air while I'm down here?
Also,
So-
we do have a particular, let's just say a particular skill set for dealing with trouble. Or causing trouble. Just trouble adjacent.
And they both kind of like shrug, and it's like click click when they shrug, and they say, well, you know, you could go and see the mayor, and they both kind of at the same time point to the necropolis,
Okay.
and then say,
Okay.
oh no, like we are running late, we have to go, but we hope to see you.
Can I
Oh, we'll
see
be
if
there.
they've
Don't
got
room.
like any coins on
yeah.
them?
Hmm?
Can I see if they've got like a coin purse or something I could just see if I can maybe thieve away a little
Sure.
bit?
Sure, give me a
This is just to me to scope it out and see how easy it
Yeah.
is before actually diving in and just like.
so give me a
yoinking.
d6 to see if you can spot
I'm
it.
gonna roll a
Is it
6 on
int?
scope and now I'm doing
Or
it.
just
Oh,
straight
okay,
D6.
So Scott Cow sees that both of these guys, one of them is a carpenter, and the other one, well, I won't tell you what he is, but both of them have some coin purses. They're actually wallets, but they have like those deep old timey suit pockets. I don't know if you guys have seen these things, but
Yeah.
They're high waisted.
yeah, exactly, very high waisted. Well, they gotta sit above the, you know, they gotta
The
sit
ribcage.
above the waist.
I think there has to be nipple contact. Like the closer, if you touch the nipple, you want to just grace the bottom of the nipple.
I suspect actually that with these skeletons, there would probably be suspenders. There'd probably be a lot of suspenders.
They'd have to, yeah.
I mean,
But anyway,
they don't have
I can
hips.
tell
I mean-
by the calluses on their bones.
so do you want to give me a dex roll to try to pickpocket one of these
I
nice
definitely do.
skeleton?
I rolled a
Oh
3,
no.
but it's a +5, so that's a total of 8.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you managed to swipe Jose's wallet, and you kind of open it up, and you find 5 of these pirate coins.
I hope I
Okay.
didn't just inherit his curse.
Are you gonna share that information?
When they walk away enough, I'll be like, clink, clink, hey, psst, here. I'll divvy them up when we're not inside, just a couple.
Couple
you
to each,
fucking
and I'll
pick
keep the
up one?
extra.
I just
Holy
found
shit.
it on the ground. Weird.
Let me tell you something that was really crafty. One time I caught a guy trying to pickpocket me. Oh, I fucked him up real good, man. He's probably still lying there.
Yeah, that'd be foolish.
To the mayor's office. To the mayor's office.
So, so you continue on up the hill and you reach this creepy necropolis. And as you go inside, you actually see that there are like recessed, almost like cubbies in the walls, and there are like skulls in the cubbies, and some of them have like gold coins like stuck in their eyes. And there's a great big writing desk, and at this great big writing desk is this quite portly looking vampire. He has a classic sort of vampire cape with the high collar that's red on the inside and black on the outside, but he's also wearing like a very mayor looking top hat, and he's got a little like silver star on one side, and he's got like a sash beneath his cape that's like that sort of screams mayor. And he's kind of like shuffling papers on the desk, and he's got a little um, uh, crystal decanter that would typically be for whiskey, and then he's got sort of like these heavy bottomed crystal glasses there, and he's sort of sipping what looks to be blood as he's going through with a feather quill pen and sort of signing things and going over ledgers and accounts. And you come in, and then you notice something which is unusual that you've never seen before. But there is a ghost hovering next to him who has one of those really beautiful, very long porcelain masks that's painted with red, and there are sort of openings for the eyes. But then there's like a mouth that's sort of painted on, and there's various other decorations that are painted on. And then there's a white sheet. Now, most ghosts don't wear white sheets, but this particular ghost is wearing a white sheet and one of those very long white masks. And that ghost appears to be sort of hovering around the mayor and speaking to the mayor. And as you come in, you see Wenceslas and this ghost, and he kind of looks up and he sort of props himself up, and he's got his great soapbox voice, and he's like, "Welcome to Dreadville."
Oh, thank you for the warm welcome. You must be Mayor Wenceslas.
Everything is a fucking sales pitch with these people.
He goes, "Welcome," and he immediately recognizes what you all are, and he goes to Habria, and he's like, "Can I pour you a drink?"
What do you have?
And he says,
He'll just
"Only
take
the
your
finest."
finest. He'll just take your finest.
What everyone comes to Dreadville for. And
Hey,
he
Cal.
basically
Scott, Cal,
he
come here a
uncorks this
sec.
thing, and he pours you like a dram of blood and kind of hands it to you, and you
Wait,
can choose to drink it or not. It's up to you.
what are you doing?
Ah, it's a nice, fine red.
When in Rome,
Yes.
we have to blend in.
I
Yes, the
look at
grapes
Labrea with
clearly.
a shrug.
Yes. Sniff it.
Just a tea.
A drink. It's probably not to your taste.
Yeah,
But
but
it is
do you
delicious.
drink it?
I do, yeah.
Oh, this is the best. It is
Yes.
the best blood you've ever tasted. It's like hearty. There are like these really floral top notes and these really like earthy, like rich, meaty low notes. And it's like so satisfying, great smooth
meaty.
finish. Like it's
beautiful.
it is the best. Like it just has like a bouquet of like sandalwood, and you feel totally refreshed. Like all of your senses come alive, and then calm, and you are full HP, and you're like, you feel like you never have to drink a person again ever. Like, this stuff is great.
Amazing.
And the mayor's like, right? Am I right?
You are indeed. You're a man of fine tastes.
And he says, you know,
Scott just like angry look on his face.
I'm gonna try
This
to con
wine is
Scott Cow
fantastic.
by drinking some myself.
Here, give me some.
he says, I only get it fresh, straight from the cathedral.
That's where they brew it, you see. Oh, excellent.
And I'm gonna sleight of hand, like, do the pour behind my head thing.
And he's like, brew, no, this comes straight from the statue herself. It's the best stuff. You'll never find better.
Oh, from the statue. We've heard about that from Kenji, no?
Yeah, Kenji. He has so much to say.
Such a pleasant chap.
And he tells, so the mayor tells you the same story, which is that there's a statue of Saint Malison that's constantly weeping. They have it in the sanctum inside the cathedral, and she's constantly weeping, and her tears gather in a great sort of almost like a pond or like a pool, and and they scoop the blood right out, and it feeds all the vampires and other things that like the taste of blood, and everyone gets to live happily in peace.
Oh, look at that. Peaceful vampires. What a world.
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't
necessarily
judge vampires based on what they are, right? Like,
You
some could be.
know I grew up, and you better watch your mouth, or I'll knock your pointy teeth. One day I'll tell you the story, and you'll understand, maybe.
Why don't
One
you
day,
just...
but I don't trust you. I don't trust you.
Okay, so do you want to ask the mayor anything?
Sure do.
Do you know a man named Kemet?
Give me a d6.
Talking to you, you vampire piece of crap. I'm talking to you.
Just give me a d6 roll. These are peaceful vampires. He's like, no need to be upset. Like, I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Have you heard of a place called the Factory?
No, I don't know any factories.
My aunts, my uncles, my brothers, my cousins, generations of us living in stone boxes, feeding ya.
So he kind of breaks down and he starts crying, and he's like, I know, we were terrible. We were so mad.
Oh God, there's blood all over when he cries.
You'll not make me weep. You'll not make me remember.
So he's like, he's crying, and he
see that he like literally grew up in like, it was like a factory farm of like these minotaurs, these like Highland cow minotaurs that just were like that's why he's like small sized for a minotaur too, because evolutionary wise they lived in like these small boxes, so they just grew small compared to regular minotaurs, and it was just like a factory.
God. Was he a veal cutlet?
Basically.
Oh man.
Cutlet.
Ugh.
And then this group of vampire hunting Highlanders came in and broke it all down, and he was the last survivor. But if you can imagine, it was like generations upon generations of his like families just like born and living in these little boxes.
Oh.
So Wenceslas is like crying, like real tears. He's not crying blood or anything, but he's crying. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I've been under just tremendous stress because there's been a murder.
I've been under stress.
There's been a murder.
Not to be insensitive, but murders
murder
don't happen often.
There's been a murder in Redville, and no one knows what to do. We don't have any police. We don't have any detectives. We never have any
Ah.
crime.
Well, we
A
know
murder.
crime. I mean,
Ooh,
we can help. Maybe we've
Perhaps.
seen the world and we've been inspect. We need money.
And he says, I'll gladly pay you a reward in pirate gold.
Now we're speaking the same language, my friend.
Just
Wait,
figure out who
wait,
committed this
wait,
heinous
wait.
crime.
What is this pirate gold worth once we leave this place?
Are you kidding?
I got-
This place is
Fuck
kinda
all.
cool. I'm
Sacks
pretty
of
sure
shit.
what's his nuts is gonna want to retire.
It's still
here.
gold. It's still gold, so you suspect that it's probably worth something. Probably
Is it
worth
cursed?
a decent amount. But it's the only coin that they accept here in Dreadville.
Hmm.
And he says that'll give you 500 pieces each.
Ooh.
If you can solve the mystery of whoever was murdered, and he tells you that the crime scene is in the mine.
Oh.
Um,
Who was murdered?
And he says, that's the worst part. I don't even know.
What?
I am genuinely confused. Usually there's a body,
Yeah.
I'm told.
So go to the mine and figure it out if you want.
Okay.
Before we go, so we're sure that we, I mean, besides the money's nice, but we could use some information.
We could indeed.
Okay, so he's kind of like he's so upset. He takes out like a handkerchief, like a silk handkerchief, and just blows his nose into it. So what do you want to know? Roll a d6.
Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave
go
this
for
to
it.
somebody else. No, go for it.
Well, Jake had already asked about Kemet.
And he told you he doesn't know Kemet. He doesn't know a Kemet.
Okay, so we've already asked that. Is there someone in town who is able to break a curse or destroy a cursed item?
He says he doesn't know, but you could try the occult shop.
Okay, that's two votes for Cold Shop, eh?
There.
So the mummy. Is there any other questions you want to ask him?
Does he know your target?
Does he know of a place
Yes.
you can stay at a reasonable rate?
You can stay in the pirate ship.
Hey, that sounds pretty sick.
That really
Yeah,
does
the rest-
sound pretty cool.
What? I'm used to nice hotels. You kidding me? We're fucked up.
How do you know the pirate ship isn't nice? It could be really nice.
It could be incredible. Lush interiors.
I
My
mean,
final question.
You can sleep in the rowboat if you want to.
You know, I'm thinking, man, that sounds kind of like a good idea. You could turn that pirate ship into a hotel. That would be really good for your bottom line.
He thanks you
It's
for
my
the
idea.
suggestion.
I want a piece. It's my idea.
Oh, you guys are so greedy. Anybody gonna ask any other questions?
Yeah, my question is: Do you know of a vampire named Sidolphus?
And he's like, Sidolphus, Vampire Lord Sidolphus, and he
That's the
goes.
one.
He says to Ava, the ghost who's there in the mask. He's like, Ava, do you remember me talking about Sidolphus? And Ava's like, yes, Mayor. And he's like, Sidolphus is the worst. Do you remember, Ava? And she's like, yes, Mayor. And he's like, Sidolphus, he was terrible. He made even bad vampires seem bad. Like some vampires, they like to drink people every now and again. I mean, you know, I used to be young. I had some adventures. It was,
We've
you know,
all
it was
got some. I mean, nothing.
He's like, and he's like, but we put all that behind us. You know, we decided to turn a new leaf. We've got Dreadville now, right, Ava? And she's like, yes, Mr. Mayor. And he basically he he tells you that he knows of Sidolphus and he despises Sidolphus.
I mean, we're
and
not
if
fans either, so it's
We are not.
We're not.
anyway.
Yeah, certainly not family or anything.
Anyway, so
You
he
think-
gets
Okay.
back to his work, and he's
Wait,
like,
wait,
Ava,
before-
be a deer and show them out.
Before we go, we need 10%. We need 10% to start because we've got things to do to cover our expenses. You know, we gotta eat. We
Oh,
eat.
you
We have
mean,
stomachs,
That's
okay?
actually true. Is
you
there a
mean
good
10% of the reward?
We want 10% of the reward. I think it's only fair. I mean, you send us off doing your stuff. I mean, we need to eat. We have places to stay. There's coffee to drink.
Okay, I'm only gonna let you roll once, but roll a d6 to persuade.
Wait,
10.
they
I
have
think that-
coffee?
A 5.
Hey.
And he's like, "You're right. You've got expenses. You've got things you gotta do, right? Like you're detectives. Maybe you need to grease some palms or something. Okay." So basically, he opens up this like treasure chest that has like teeth, and he's like,
Oh,
sorry, Bernie. Like, just give me a second here. And he goes in. And he basically,
Bernie.
out of this mimic, he takes like 50 gold pieces and he gives them to each of you. So you get 50 gold pieces
Sweet.
each. So you've got
Pirate gold pieces. Yeah.
While they're doing this exchange, I'm gonna just kind of look up at the ghost girl, like lady who's sitting there, his yes man,
Ava
kind
who's
of just
kind of floating.
I was like, hey, what's up?
I do.
Ava's gonna be like, she's gonna say, if you need any information about the town of Dreadville, be sure to stop by after hours, and I'd be happy to talk to you more, and maybe even give you a tour.
You know what?
Oh.
It's Ava, right?
It is.
I might just take you up on that.
I would love that as well.
Okay, so you
I'm
can.
not so sure.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I
uh,
just have to go.
a cult store, shall we?
Can we see if we can get something sweet to eat on the way?
Sweat?
Sweet.
Oh,
So-
sweet.
Ava says that the famous Dreadville lollipops are actually best if you get them straight from the cathedral, but you can also buy them in the Boneyard or the Crystal Ballroom.
Oh, yeah,
This is like, is that their version of Molly?
yeah.
Molly.
It's blood. it's all
So-
blood.
Everything tastes like iron around here.
Delicious.
I'm a little worried that
Um,
drinking this stuff might actually turn me into a vampire, so I'm gonna just stick to my own rations from my pack for the most part.
You can
Okay.
pass it on to me.
So,
Dude, you're
what
gonna
are you
end
gonna
up
do?
as chubby as that the mayor. Not
I'm a
the
little more
body
active than
shame
the
the
mayor.
vampire.
A little more active.
This is true. I've seen you
Ah,
stab
okay.
things.
Do you want to go to the crime scene first, or do you want to go to the occult shop first?
Well, I am not used to people talking about crime scenes that I'm not a part of.
It might be useful to go to the shop actually, just to see like maybe there'd be much we can purchase, as well as ask him if he can do a thing or not.
It's kind of on the way, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So you travel to the occult shop, which actually has a sort of a like a swing sign that says occult shop, and like it's sort of like very wavy, wispy lettering. And you go inside, and it's just this long room, and on all the walls there are hieroglyphs and there are paintings, and they're sort of painted in probably like almost gold leaf. Like there's obviously some sort of gold mixed in with the paint, because with a couple candles, there's just quite a lot of glitter on the walls, and you can see images of basically souls being dragged down and eaten by these like hippo gators or something like that. You know, like strange beasts that have like the mouths of alligators or crocodiles, and you know the bodies of other things. Anyway, and at a big altar, doing something magical over a sort of crystal ball, is this fully mummified thing. You know, it's difficult to tell, but it clearly has sort of like the face of a wolf. So you're thinking maybe this is a Lugaru who has been fully mummified, and he has this big gold sort of a shoulder. How can I describe it? It runs from one shoulder to the next, almost like a sash that goes up over his shoulders and then over his back, and it's just made of solid gold. And he has gold cuffs, and he has many like amulets with lapis lazuli and other gems and stuff. But even his pointy ears that stick up are covered in white bandages. And he's a mummy, and he's doing his magic, and he doesn't even really notice you come in. And he's fully focused on what he's doing now. On the walls, on shelves, there are lots of like jars that have strange looking heads on them, and you have no idea what they might contain. And there are like tattered rolls of papyrus and other things that presumably have a bunch of magical qualities to them. But he doesn't even notice you come in. So take a look around, talk to him, do whatever you like.
Wow.
All right.
This place is really messed up, man. Like, if I die, I might come back here.
Greetings.
It might be a nice place to retire when you really retire, if you know what I'm saying.
So he looks up, and he has this very evil voice, and he's like, "What is it?"
We're told that you might know a friend of ours named Kemet.
And he goes, "Damn it! That son of a jackal! Oh, the next time I see him, I'll skin him alive. I'll wring the blood out of him drop by drop. Oh, I have such a spell. I will make his flesh crawl with bugs. I can't wait to cast it on him. Where is he? What is he up to?
He is very, very indisposed.
What?
He's dead. Somebody
One
already
might say
did
he's even dead.
If you wanted to do to
But like dead,
No, they-
not like motion to him.
And when
From
you
death.
say he's dead,
horribly. He died horribly. You'll be glad to know he died horribly.
It's true. Screaming in pain like a little bitch.
and when you say that he's dead,
I saw it myself. He died twice.
this mummy Khufu is like, dead? He can't be. I was going to kill him, or he was going to kill me. I can't. What am I supposed to do? He's dead. I can't believe it. He's really dead.
You can carry on his legacy. We've got just the thing.
So anyways, this mummy starts kind of like crying.
It's okay. It's okay.
There, Mr. Wolf.
So if you wanna try that carry on his legacy thing, give me a D6.
Can I assist him for like, I don't know, roll twice or something? Or a bonus?
Sure, I'll let two of you roll.
Okay.
I've had a couple of good ones, so I'm expecting.
But you have to use a different tactic, each of you.
Sure.
Makes sense.
So
I'm going to use logic.
Okay.
So intelligence. So I rolled
The
a
Greek?
2, but I'm +5, so 7.
No.
Okay,
This is a
just straight.
persuade. This is persuasion. It's straight. It's two. He's like basically you can't even reach him. He's just so emotionally distraught. He's like how? Why? We
Put it
had
down.
such times together.
Show him the idol. Show him the idol. Just show him the idol. Show him why we're here.
Okay, so you're gonna show him the idol?
What do you think?
I mean, I think you rolled a 1, but I think we're in this, so.
Yeah, sure.
Try it. Roll and ask him what you want him to do.
Have you heard of this thing before? I just wanted info, but I'll
Okay.
do a roll. A 4.
Okay. So when you pull it out, he immediately knows what it is. I mean, even you were.
Well, I'm Scottish. When I pull it out, he immediately knows it.
Okay. So when you pull out the idol,
Oh God, put it away. Although now I understand why they're called bullocks.
Hey.
when you pull out the idol, he immediately knows what it is, and he's like, "Oh, ye gods! Like this horrible thing." And he's not too pleased with the idea of Kava returning to Southumbria either. And he says, this is terrible. And he says, but oh look, there's a possibility that I might be able to cast a spell to turn this idol into an elixir that you can use to break the spell and heal the tree.
For Kemet.
And he's
That's
like,
no.
amazing.
To screw Kemet. Screw him.
Kemet.
he actually does miss
Died
Kemet.
horribly.
So he says I'll do this. I'll brew the elixir, but I need you to do something for me. He says,
Here we go. I'll start
I need you to
nudging La
find out.
Habrea to like, this one's yours,
I
buddy.
need you to find out who is murdering people in Dreadville.
Oh,
What a
I
coincidence.
fear for my safety.
Do you know any
Coincidence.
good clairvoyance? Do you know any good clairvoyance in town?
No.
So it's a coincidence. It's a funny coincidence that you mentioned that because we're actually investigating a murder right now that happened in the mine. Do you know anything of this?
He says no, but he's heard of like other people have gone missing. And by people he means undead things.
Right.
They've gone missing. And he doesn't know why. He doesn't know the circumstances. He heard one report of something flying, but he doesn't know, and he's not been able to figure it out on his own. So he says
It wasn't a wyvern, was it? Yes.
ah.
And how long has this been going on?
Hmm?
Ask him.
Not long, weeks.
All right. I think we're in. We'll do that.
So,
You get to
try
work
to
on your
do
elixir thingy, and we'll go
Yeah.
solve a crime. Yeah.
Scooby and I will go this way. You and Daphne go that way.
Why'd you call me Scooby? Is it because I'm furry?
I'm furrier than you.
Oh, that's true. I guess I'm Scrappy.
Yeah, you're both quite furry.
There's
Everybody-
a series of traveling minstrel shows where this is all about this is where we're getting this from.
Okay.
Can that be
It's-
canon? Scooby Doo exists as like a pilgrimage play
Okay, sure.
in the
It's,
world.
it's-
Yes, I contributed to the lore.
It's 11
See.
o'clock. You guys have until midnight to try to solve this murder
Oh,
mystery.
okay, let's go.
So
Dive in.
what are you gonna do?
To the mines.
Yeah, let's get in. Let's go
Okay.
see the scene of the crime. I'm also gonna need to know who's sleeping with whom. Is that even possible for these beings? Never mind, we'll figure it out. Let's go to the mines.
Let's go.
So you head down to the mines, and what you see is actually quite interesting. There's obviously a part in the mine where the galena, this crystal structure that's all over the walls is very pure. Like it's just much more uniform in color. It's this silvery, almost pewter gray, and it's is quite reflective. And there's a zombie there who's got a big pick.
I whip out my weapons and I remember. Right, sorry.
Yeah, this zombie is huge, like a very burly zombie. It's that appears to have been sort of stitched together. Maybe he's fallen apart and been cut apart and been stitched together again. But anyways, he's there and he's got this very big, heavy pick, and he's clearly been just breaking bits of the wall off and loading them with a shovel into like a mine cart, which he pushes like maybe 20 steps to another zombie who has a very big it's almost just like a cauldron, and he's using a big, almost like a mortar and pestle, to just sort of smash the crystals into the smallest sort of powder he can. And then there's a great big vat of water near him, and there's another zombie there, and that zombie is sort of watching over the water. And in the water, they pour this sort of powdered galena into the water, and they manage to sort of froth it off the top, and that's how they extract the lead and the silver from this dust. So you've got these 3 zombies who are attending to this process, but they've all stopped because there's a final step, which is where they actually smelt the stuff that they get off the water, and they just boil it down using a big wood fire. And there's sort of a vat of molten lead, and next to the vat that's clearly just been pulled out of the vat because there are rips of dried lead on the ground, there is a skeleton that is immobilized, that has been just caked in lead, and is just lying there, still kind of steaming a little bit, and not moving. And the zombies are all kind of like looking at this body, going, "Dumb."
Is this the murdered being?
Yes.
Maybe he doesn't know because it's just a generic skeleton. Is that why? Why wouldn't he know in particular that this person?
Yeah.
Well, every sort of every identifying mark on this skeleton has been either burned away or concealed. I mean, he was clearly dipped in like molten lead, and then pulled back out again. So whatever might have been on him, clothing, him or her clothing, has been burned away, and it's just the.
Can I? Is this skeleton the same size as the other one's pretty beefy, or is he small?
Sorry, you guys were both talking.
Sorry.
Yeah. Would we see that it's like a human skeleton, or was it like a skeleton to begin with, and then it's a skeleton now because we're in like undead land, or was it like a fleshy being that had all the flesh melted away? Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Do we know?
It does make sense what you're saying, and you can't tell. It could have had flesh on it before it went into the vat.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Are the zombies intelligent?
You can talk to them.
All right.
Can we speak to your foreman?
So they kind of look at each other, and they're like, "There's no foreman here." One of them, who's got like a noose tied around his neck, like obviously so tight that like it's basically only like a straw, he kind of looks over and he's like, "I'm Ralph." And then there's another one who's got like an axe, basically cleaving right into his skull, and the handle is kind of hanging back, almost like he's wearing a hat sideways, and he's like, "I'm Ned." Ned is the one who's crushing the galena, and then there's another one who is like clearly like bloated and waterlogged, like he looks like he's twice as heavy as the other ones, like he probably drowned, and he's at the sort of flotation stage of the lead processing, and he's like, I'm Ed.
Well, not
And
an
then the
Ed.
one who's kind of right near the smelting station where they've got the boiling lead. This zombie is totally green and smells quite foul, like he was probably poisoned or something. And he's like, I'm Joe.
Pleasure to meet you all.
And they're all kind of scratching their heads.
What
We're
can you
here
tell us about what
from the
happened
mayor.
here? Yes.
We're here from the mayor. We're supposed to be trying to get to the bottom of this. What do you know?
What do you know?
Well,
Gonna be a little more specific.
Did you see what happened here, or who found him, or it? They? Who is this? I'm filled with questions.
So Joe, the poison green zombie who's at the smelter, is going to explain that he came in for their shift, and he found this body there, and or he actually found it floating in the lead, and so he fished it out, and he doesn't know who it is.
Oh, so
How
you
many
don't know who this is.
Do you have like a roll call sheet? Can you say like, is there anybody missing from your roster of workers?
Give me a d6 roll.
4?
He says he actually gives you quite a bit of information. He's like, duh, but then he says it's odd for a skeleton to be near the smelters, because there are no skeletons who work here in the mine.
Right.
Where do the skeletons usually work? I guess I don't want to be like
Putting things in
ableist.
boxes, but
Yeah.
No, he says most of the skeletons are former crew from the pirate ship. He says so they work in town.
Huh.
So it's odd that a skeleton is here, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Can I take a really close look at the body, looking for anything that might have been like held in its skeletal grip? I know it's coated in lead now, but just gonna look for any evidence of like what might have brought it down here. If it was carrying a message or any equipment.
Give me an int roll for this, actually.
Ooh, rolled a 5, and that is 10 total.
Okay. Scott Cow's theory that there might have been flesh on this skeleton is probably correct. This does not look like the sort of clean bones of the skeletons that you've seen in town. This thing looks like it had stuff in it.
interesting.
That looks
Okay.
like an organ. I'm pretty
I look at
sure.
it?
I share
Can we look at-
this.
Okay.
Can we look at the teeth? Are there fangs or are they like human type teeth?
Another good question.
Yeah.
Do you wanna you know what? I won't even make you roll a d6 for this. They're not fangs. They're
Okay.
regular teeth.
And it's a regular human-like skeleton.
Yeah, it's a human skeleton and they're human teeth.
What
This
are
is
what shape
gonna
are the
be
teeth?
weird, but I'm gonna try to
I
poke it.
do in paleontology, so can I tell by the pelvis if it's a male or female?
You're gonna need an int roll for that.
I don't have an one, but maybe I just happened to read a book on anatomy.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1.
So you're like counting the ribs and you're like 1, 2, 3, 4.
What comes
No.
after 4?
1, 2, 3. No, wait. 1, 2. Okay, all right. So,
Inconclusive. What shape are the teeth in?
huh?
What shape are the teeth in?
They look bad.
Bad, so potentially like zombie bad, or just
Bad,
poor
like-
hygiene bad?
Bad, like dunked into a vat of boiling lead. Bad.
Yeah, okay.
I'd give you the shape because that would be clear.
Okay.
So we know that it probably like it could be like a live human. So there's only been very few humans down here, and since there's only one way in and one way out. We would probably have we might be able to have like a roster of how many humans were here because.
But there's also witches training and stuff, right?
Yeah, we know there's 4 of them.
Well,
Plus
there's
the
just
headmistress.
5 living beings in total, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
4 witches plus the headmistress.
So this could have
And
been
we
a
saw-
zombie. Could have been
saw
one of
2
them.
Yeah. And so the jackal-headed dude said that he was scared of being killed too, so that's interesting. So the smelter is like right there?
Else has gone missing as well.
Hmm?
'Cause
Right.
more-
The smelter's like right there?
Sorry, I heard Lahabia's question. Yeah, the smelter's like right there. I didn't hear
Okay.
Scott Cow's question.
I'm just wondering, like, we're gonna have to find out who the other missing people are and see if there's a connection between them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I ask the zombies, does anyone else have access to the smelter, or is it just the lot of you?
They kind of look at each other and they're like, it's like a stone's throw away from the rest of the town. Like there's no
Right.
gates, there's no doors, there's no crime in Dreadville.
Yeah.
Anyone could do it.
Now,
Okay,
I
do you
don't
know anything
wanna
about any
victim
missing?
blame, but you guys might need to invest in some basic, like, locks. Maybe some
Is there
safety gates. And I've seen these things where you put it and it looks like a step, but it's not a step. And you have to put a sign up.
Am I just allowed to take a look for maybe some other physical evidence, like any type of footprints?
Give me a D6 roll.
Yeah. Okay. Look for physical evidence roll. A
Yep.
6.
There are lollipop wrappers everywhere. Lollipop wrappers
Ah.
and lollipop sticks.
Okay, so it's somebody who likes blood. But we don't know if that's victim or victimer.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
Okay.
that ditzy witch lady.
Did like the lollipops. Yeah, so who do you know of it? So we've heard that some other people have gone missing. Do you know of any of them? Like who has gone missing, who has not come back? Seems like
Give
a
me
pretty
D6
tight knit.
roll.
Okay.
You're gonna
4.
have to roll high.
4?
4. They're like, oh.
I double it. No.
I'm gonna grab a couple of those wrappers. Just pocket them as evidence. Can I check? Is there a safe way for me to peer into the lead vat thing and just see if anything else might be stuck in there? And I'll ask the zombie who runs it and be like,
Did you find anything else in there? Was the body on the ground, or did you have to scoop it out?
He like fished it out and like dumped it on the ground,
Oh,
and he couldn't find anything else in there.
okay.
Hmm.
Okay,
Working with
so-
lead is really dangerous. It might lead to intellectual impairment. Never mind.
How big is like the vat? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you were trying to shove somebody through like a small hole and they were struggling, it would probably be a lot harder. If you were trying to shove somebody through a small hole and they were already dead, it would probably be a lot easier.
oh,
This
is
thing
a
is
body
big enough.
disposal?
It's big enough that it would be easy to like. I mean,
Just
if you had
shove
sufficient
somebody-
strength and you were corporeal, you could throw somebody in.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
that ghost lady's off the witness.
Or is there any type of like ledge to push them in, or would somebody have to pick them up to throw them in?
There's some steps, so it wouldn't be
Mhm.
that hard, or you could pick them up and throw them in.
Okay.
Think about one of those pools that people have in their backyards. You know, like those pools that
It's
like,
an
above
above
ground.
Above ground pools.
Is there like
Above ground lead.
physical evidence search? Like, is there a particular spot around the rim where there might have been an area where it seemed like there was more of a splash? like a rope that leaping out over the edge or something. Some like drips around one of the edges on the ground around somewhere where we can maybe tell where they went in.
Some evidence of a struggle.
I'm not going to ask you for any rolls. The crime scene has not been sufficiently preserved for you to be able to do that, and the whole operation is not terribly clean. So you can't tell anything from that.
I mean, to be fair, like that guy's like finger just fell off, like one of the zombies. So like, contaminated.
You said it was only like a town of 100, right?
Yeah, it's only about 100 people.
Okay, let's
call
it a town meeting. Let's call a town meeting and see who's missing and offer free coffee and donuts. I'll kick in some of my money for coffee and donuts.
I'm gonna say keep asking around. You'll figure it out. No need for a town hall.
Okay. All right. So either what do you think? The boneyard, the crystal room.
Town meeting. It's like the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas. Anyway.
What do you want?
Let's go to the crystal room. There's probably some blood lollipop liking people there.
We need to find out who the other victims are, because there'll have to be probably a connection between them.
Yeah.
If
we know the connection.
Scott, there is one other thing we could try, but I'm not gonna be able to do it. You have a big axe, right?
I did have a sword. I left it in the bargaining
Yeah, it got
place.
stuck. It got stuck on the rafters.
If we get a sufficient sized axe or sword, lead is soft. You could maybe chop the head off, and then we could like work at prying it back until we can see who's underneath. Just a little body desecration. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. I would, whatever we got to do, like, what ifs.
But can
you guys are gonna try and get the head off?
Or just
they don't have any, like, the zombies aren't going to object. They're just going to get back to work. In fact, that's what they do. They start going and like sort of, chiseling at the galena and brushing it and putting in the flotation.
Do you think you could carry the body there, Scott? Do you think you could carry that, Scott?
He could totally carry that body around.
Look at me. Of course I can.
You could just, I mean, it's just the bones, right? You could just sling it over one shoulder like a hobo backpack.
I could do that.
Tie a little rope, a little napkin.
2 uprights over there, fuck's sakes.
Okay.
All right, let's bring it with.
So you leave the crime scene with the deceased. And where are you going to go? You're going to go to the Crystal Ballroom?
Let's do it.
Can we drop the body off at the mayor's office first, just in like some sort of sift?
Sure.
We don't want
do
to
they have
scandalize people.
What's the opposite of a? I can't think of the word right now.
There's a hat rack.
Yeah.
So you drop off the body back at the necropolis with the mayor, and you proceed on down to the Crystal Ballroom. The Crystal Ballroom, it looks very spiffy on the outside. Like lots of statues and like fountains that are just shooting up that same poisoned water. And you go inside, and everything is quite dim. Like there are some candles that are lit, and even those candles don't seem to be real fire. It's sort of like just like a ghost light. And it's a beautiful like dance floor, but none of the vampires are dancing. There are these sort of like red leather chaise longue and like other sort of like reclining furniture, and there's a ton of crystal. Like there's a crystal chandelier, there's like a table that's all sort of decorated with like inlaid crystal and mother of pearl, and there's like various crystal decanters, and like there's a big crystal bowl that has all kinds of lollipop sticks sticking out of it, and lounging in these chairs are some vampires. and like you can tell they're vampires. They're dressed in very traditional vampire clothing. You know, they have all this sort of like tight low cut leather for the women, and then like the sort of the ridiculous capes and huge like white bouffant hairstyles for the men. Like they're very obviously vampires, and there are a lot of crushed velvet curtains around the corners of the room, so you can kind of like sort of close off the curtains, and you can kind of have like a little private rendezvous in different parts of the room. And there are several vampires here. There are two who are talking in this sort of like chaise longue type sort of seating area, and then there's another one who is by herself behind, sort of slightly behind one of the curtains. So you go and you introduce yourselves, and there's a male vampire and a female vampire. Both seem to be maybe they were elves at one point before they were turned. And the man introduces himself as Guillaume, and he's like charmed, and the woman vampire introduces herself as Colette, and she's like charmed.
And I'm like,
They're both kind of like swirling like martini glasses of the same substance. Like it's all the same stuff. It's blood from the statue.
Scott Cat walks up. He's just like, "You're all the same. You're just all the same." It's really quite pathetic.
And
really.
So Colette,
I was gonna try to quiet him down, but he's not
the
wrong.
female vampire, is like, she kind of like raises a hand to her sumptuous breasts and is like, oh, I never. And then she kind of like struts off in her like, I'm gonna say like knee-high boots, and so it's just Guillaume, and he kind of like puts his martini glass down, and he's totally deflated, and he's like, what did you have to do that for?
My companion does not speak for us.
Look at you. Look at you. It's just all the same. That's all. It's like, come on, can you just try a little something different? Maybe like a red shirt, or, rainbow pants or something like that. There's no originality here. That's all I'm saying. We've got questions.
I once saw this play where the vampire was dressed in a leather jacket and like white t-shirts, and they anyway, this is food for thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're Guillaume. You must be the professor at the university, is that right?
And he's like, yes, I am.
And what is it you teach?
I teach a variety of things, including flying on broomsticks.
Oh, fascinating. It's a bit of an odd question for you. We're new to town, as you might have gathered. And I lean in a little bit. We're investigating a series of murders and disappearances. You know anything about that?
He's like, good gracious. Sorry, his accent is kind of like changing as I'm kind of getting the hang of the character.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's been alive for decades and decades, so you pick up a little bit of that as you go.
Do you need to do a little bit of character study and come back in like 4 years?
I should do that.
For this role.
We do apologize for offending your companion there. We don't know the local customs. I mean, I'm a talking rodent.
Do you want to give me a D6 roll? You just asked. I don't know if you're asking him anything.
Oh, I did.
What did you ask him?
Well, I'm asking him if you, since we're ingesting these murders, do you know anything about the recent murder or the disappearances?
Yeah, who might be missing?
6.
And he kind of like looks all around the ground, like he kind of makes you follow his eyes, and you see there are like there are wrappers everywhere, like these lollipop wrappers. And he's like, well, I don't know if that janitor has been murdered, but if he hasn't, then I would surely like to murder him because there is so much garbage strewn about. How is one supposed to enjoy oneself at a fine establishment like the Crystal Ballroom when one is constantly dealing with the rustle of candy wrappers underfoot?
I'm gonna
It
pick
is
one up,
unseemly.
make sure it matches.
I do see a lot of garbage around here. That is true.
Double meaning, my god.
Point.
What's
Scott Gal.
the janitor's name?
I'm assuming like in a place like this though, that like lollipop or wrapper is like in the most popular thing of the most popular. It's not like super rare that they're all over the place. That's what I'm thinking. Like just because there's
like
lollipop under this guy, it couldn't. I mean, it couldn't be that odd. That's all. Don't say.
Fair.
But Brennan did say this was a pretty swanky establishment, so that is a little odd in this particular context.
And so Guillaume is like, I don't know the name of the janitor. And then you hear this scoffing sound coming from the third vampire who was sitting behind one of these curtains, and she kind of like unfolds herself from this seat behind the curtain, and she sort of like saunters up to where you are. You know, she's all sort of silk and long legs, and she kind of like, she's got one of those what do you call those really big feathered, what are they called, like a boa or something like that?
Yeah.
Anyways, she's kind of flicks this feathered boa,
how
and
is
it's
it
all,
gonna
and it's
go?
blood red, of course. And she's like, oh, Guillaume, you don't even know the name of the man who comes and cleans up your messes. And he's like, Irina, no one asked you. And they get all catty for a minute, and then Irina is
Which I'm picturing like classic
janitor's
vampire
name was
hissing
Bob.
just for a second.
Yeah, a little cat-like. And she goes, the janitor's name was Bob, and he was a very nice zombie. I actually have some friends who are zombies. And he's like, Arena, you can't even name another zombie. You don't know any zombies. She says, I do. I have friends who are zombies. And she says, Bob was a very nice zombie. He would come and clean up. In fact, he was the best janitor we ever had. He used to clean up the university. He would clean up the mayor's office. He would clean up here at the Crystal Ballroom, but now he is gone, and I cannot imagine what might have happened to him.
Whenabouts was the last time you saw Bob? He sounds like a nice person, and
Certainly due for some overtime.
Seriously.
She can't quite pinpoint when she last saw him,
Approximately.
but it must have been like in the last like 2 or 3 days. He's just stopped
Okay.
around.
Did we recall seeing any rappers in the mayor's office?
You didn't look.
We did not. Huh.
You know, here, like in my mind, I guess we'll wait till we'll maybe leave because I've got some things that I would talk about, but not in front of these people.
Do you
Okay,
happen
so
to know where
you guys can
Bob
like
might be?
leave the Crystal Ballroom and like huddle, because, and I assume that like, I don't know, Guillaume and Irina are just gonna start making out on the chaise-longue while you guys come out.
Okay.
Do you think it's possible that like he just got sick of eating suckers and this stuff all the time, and he just wanted to have like? I was originally gonna say like a living victim essentially, just because that's what I was kind of doing in the long run. But if it's a zombie that's missing, can vampires drink from zombies? Was that an enjoyable thing? I'm asking you, vampire.
I don't know of what you speak.
Blood of zombies? I'm sure you probably do. I'm sure you probably drink piss if you got the opportunity.
Zombie. I imagine zombie blood would not be very tasty.
You imagine correctly.
But would it be nourishing?
It would not.
Would not know.
You would not want to.
Okay, so probably
That's
not.
a vacation idea.
Should we head to the boneyard?
I feel like there's a little more to find out here. They've
Yeah,
gotta be.
it's
They
like-
gotta have staff bringing them their treats, right? So maybe we
Yeah.
go just investigate
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the back room a little bit. I'm just gonna sneak around. I'm not. I'm just gonna be sneaky and just go into the
Okay.
back area where I see somebody carrying something, like
Yeah, I'm sure maybe
some of the
we wanna keep the
lollipops.
conversation going up here and give you a chance to maybe snoop around a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Oh no, you can't get out of here.
But I
Okay,
will.
so Elroy goes around back, and it's like suddenly he feels very cold, and he can like see his breath, like a
That's
puff of
not-
steam,
I
and then
should
suddenly
Stay
this
near my friends.
ghost emerges, but she's actually like a quilt with two eyes. And it's like one of those quilts that are like different patterned squares all knitted together. And she's got these two
Tactical.
eyes. And she's like, "Hello, my name is Belle."
Hi, Belle. You scared the crap out of me. Well done. I like your quilt. Did you help make that?
She says, "No, I stole it, I did. But you
Ah.
know, most of the ghosts here in Dreadville, we like to wear these quilts and sheets and things because if you see what we really look like underneath, it's quite scary. So just to make things much nicer looking so we don't always have to think about what we look like when we were dying, we like to have these sheets over top of us. And I picked this one because it was quite colorful. Do you
Well,
like
that's-
it?"
I do. I really do. Can I?
And she
can
kind
I
of like
ask-
does a little twirl just so you can kind of like see it spin a little bit.
Yeah. And it moves like a half second too late every time. It's just
Yeah.
a little lag.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm looking for Bob. He's been missing a while.
Oh, I miss Bob. He used to be the janitor at the university. You know, Our Lady of Frightful Wickedness.
Oh,
I
yeah.
teach there.
Bingo.
Oh, teach there. Fantastic. We met your Professor Humpty Bump over there.
Oh, you mean
Guillaume.
Guillaume? Yes, Guillaume actually fired Bob. Fired him.
Why
Why would you
would
do such a thing?
fire the only janitor in town?
Well, I really shouldn't say.
Oh, come on. This
Give a
is just
D6
between
roll.
you, me, and the quilt, baby.
3.
Anybody gonna do any better than that?
All right, I'll pull out 5 gold coins. Perhaps my friend
Oh,
Skeleton
this is
Coin might change your mind.
My much more charming vampire.
Roger.
I'm just a
Friend
glorified
Roger.
rodent.
All right, what we got?
So you kind of deposit one of the skeleton coins in her little pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like,
Slide.
well,
Slide.
"You didn't hear it from me, but Guillaume was a little bit jealous because some of the girl students were paying a lot of attention to Janitor Bob.
Interesting.
And so he went and fired him, he did. But you
Bob was
didn't
a
hear
bit
it
of a
from me."
heartbreaker.
And then she goes like, "Hee hee 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 hee," and she goes like, "Wah," and she kind of like goes right through the wall, just like, "Wah,"
I
phases
have
through
just
the
been
wall.
kind of pacing back and forth as she's moving around. So when she goes to the wall, I inadvertently slam into the wall. Just right.
Okay, so he got him fired, but would
Want to go talk to him and like just put the screws to him and just be like, yeah, we know you did this. We know you got pissed off. See if we can just make him crack.
Well,
Or
he's got to be stronger than a zombie to be able to do this.
Yeah.
So we should test his strength. Strength
Yeah, Bob.
surreptitiously.
And I'm also not sure that if he fired him, that would kind of
Well, we
have
don't know
resolved the...
and him. Like we don't know, but if we accuse him, we might be able to make him slip up. That's all. Like we could do some good
Yeah.
cop bad shit.
What if Bob was a player, man? What if this isn't the only person that he's made
Yeah.
angry?
25 minutes.
Boneyard.
Boneyard
Boneyard,
it
yeah,
is.
Going on the boneyard.
Yeah.
Prime suspect, obviously.
Okay, so You go into the boneyard, and the boneyard just has like, I don't know how they've managed to do it, but they must have gotten either a bunch of will-o-wisps or maybe like little bits of glowing moonstone, but they have a sign out front that says the boneyard, and it's on an angle, and then it has like lights all around the edges, and it's going like bzz, 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 and they're like will-o-wisps kind of going around it, like it's the boneyard. And even outside you can hear the mariachi music, you can hear like the boots on the floorboards, like you can hear it's like a rip-roaring good time. And when you open the door, the volume just triples, and you see like skeletons, and they're all like doing their clickety click dances, and they're really keeping time, and they're doing a bunch of old timey stuff. They're doing a bunch of stuff that shouldn't be possible. Like if there was flesh on those bones, they would not be able to do these moves.
Like bending way past 180.
Yeah, and they're really into it. They're these creaky floorboards. Like the whole place looks very run down and decrepit, but at the same time, it has like a lot of life to it because there's just it's just so fancy. They've got some guys playing trumpets up on a stage. There's this big moth-eaten curtain. Like this is an old theater. There's like a saloon style piano, and there's a skeleton sitting there, like just really going at it on the ivories. And there's some really fat mariachi guitars.
I don't have mariachi
No,
style
it's
music, sorry.
dancing around, and they're like doodly 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 clickety 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 clickety, and they're like having a great old time. And when they see you, they're all like, "Hey!"
All in
Hey!
unison?
They're very
That's
welcoming.
awesome. Their timing's immaculate.
Is there like
So,
there? Is there a drum set there?
yeah, sure, yes, there is.
All right, because Scott Cow used to play drums in the high school rock and so he's gonna
All right.
get on the drum set and be like Buddy Rich moment, and it's gonna be like this is one of the few things in life that he, depending on the role, I guess I do, if you make me do the role, but I would say one of the few things in life that he's like really good at and he kind of like really gets off on is that he's a really good drum player. He plays the drums really well. And he's like Buddy Rich and Neil Peart, like all mixed together. He gets on there. He's like, his eyes are closed and like the matted, like long Highland cow, sweaty hair, you know. Anyway, he's a drummer at heart. And in this time, when he sees the clickety click bone dances and stuff like that, it's actually the first time since he's been in this place that he's kind of enjoying himself a bit. And he's going to see if he can jump behind the drum kit. Join in the festivities.
So give me a strength roll. I was gonna ask for a dex roll for you guys to dance, but
Nice.
a strength roll for the drum solo.
Of course. That is a 9 total.
Whoa.
Okay. So you like really impress them, and like you almost have like this like dueling, like you have like a dual drum solo against like a tap dancing skeleton, and like everybody's like clapping because this tap dancing skeleton, like you can be like, and the skeleton is just doing the same thing only with his heels. He's just like click 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 click, and everybody is like, wow, this is amazing. So they're really getting into it and enjoying themselves. And so all these skeletons crowd around, and you basically have their attention. And I'm just gonna GM wave this because I want to kind of hurry things along. So you meet a variety of skeletons. There's Maria, there's Miranda, there's Hernando, Fernando, Rolando, Ronaldo. There's all these skeletons, and they all kind of come around, and they tell you that they were all crew and passengers on board this pirate ship, and they were all cursed by their evil captain to serve him. For as long as he remained captain of the ship, even if long after they died and long after he died, and so they just mutinied, and he ceased to be the captain, but they continued to be around, so they don't have to serve him anymore, but they call themselves emancipated skeletons, so they're having a great time. And you ask them about the murders. You ask them about Bob.
Do we know
you
who's
ask
missing? That's one of the questions.
Yeah.
Well, they can
Other
tell
than
you
Bob.
that there are no skeletons unaccounted for,
Uh,
and they basically confirm your suspicion that Bob, the janitor zombie, hasn't been seen in a while.
Mm.
did Bob have like a family or close friends that we could talk with?
They say that Bob was very charming.
Mm. Okay.
Like, can he have been like enchanted in some kind of way?
Hmm?
Do you think like could Bob have been like enchanted in some kind of way? Like what's the charming zombie thing?
All undead are immune to the charm
Mm.
spell and to mesmerism as well.
Interesting. Okay.
But they meant charming in the traditional way. What the kids call
yeah.
Riz these days.
Oh no. Oh no. So cringe, bro.
He has a lot of Riz. Anyway,
Side note, a little quick boomer story here. I went to buy like some rolling papers the other day, and I'm like, "Can I have some zigzags?" The guy's like, "I haven't smoked zigzags in years." Ha 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 ha. And I was like, "Oh." Anyway,
They're
they
sold
did-
everywhere.
Yeah.
fuckers.
Okay.
was like-
Bob missing.
All right.
Probably
So-
that dude.
I'm
So
going to give
he
you
gets
one
around.
a d6 roll, and if you roll well, you might get another clue from this skeleton dance crew.
How's about a
We got-
6 for you?
Ooh. There you go.
So
rolled a
ask
4.
about something.
Ask. Wait. I don't know. I guess ask because I'm not inside your brain.
I was gonna just see if Bob had any enemies. Or worked in a place where he might be exposed to something that's like, because he worked all over the place. Are there
Yeah,
any
he
other
did.
places that he worked? I want to find that out first, actually.
Yeah.
Where else did he work
okay.
that might have been a little bit hard to, like, kind of an important place?
Also,
And so they tell you he also worked as the janitor in the mayor's office.
Isn't that where we left his
Did
body?
he send? Yeah.
did he have a particular bird that he liked to spend his time with? If you said he was charming, but did he have somebody special
A sweetheart, if you will.
that he enjoyed spending his time with?
You're
So
asking
all
in
the
a place
skeletons are
called
going to
the
kind of like
boneyard.
they're kind of like going to look at each other, and they all have that smile because they're all skull faces, right? And they kind of look over and they say, Bob used to get pretty friendly with all of the students at the university.
Uh-huh.
You know, the young witches.
Even the
Okay.
live ones.
Let's head to the university. Let's talk to
You
some.
certainly seem to be trying.
students.
Fuck, was it rotten?
All right,
So what do you wanna do?
back to uni. Back to uni.
Back to the university.
Talk to people from now on. He's gonna be like, "Did you see that person in your life?" He's gonna be right up in people's faces.
Okay.
Let's head back,
So-
and we'll just
Still two.
see who we can see off the initial, and hopefully, yeah, maybe the person we saw before, or maybe somebody else.
So you head back to the university. And this time you see a different assortment of students. You see two female students. So there's Clara and there's Ruby. Clara is an elf. Ruby seems to be a halfling. Both of them have the same outfit. It's the cone hat, slightly tilted, and then like over the knee striped socks. I'm going to say the stripes are purple and orange. Anyway,
I'm just
and
gonna
they're
work
like
on a. Sorry, go ahead.
they're like talking to each other, and they're like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, did you seriously? No, really, literally. Like, she just said it, and I was like, oh, I can't believe.
Good day, ladies.
Anyways.
Good day,
Can-
ladies. How are?
While Scott is engaging them in conversation, I look up and like, is there like a candelabra or like a chandelier type thing up above or anything up high?
I think this place
Okay.
would probably have wall sconces, but anyways,
Mhm.
there's also another student who is a male student, who also has the witch hat,
Ah,
but he has like sort of like long robes and like a tie with a collar and like big like Coke bottle glasses, and a great big nose because he's a gnome. Like he's quite short, and he's like hauling around like a belt with a bunch of books. Like he's got one of those old fashioned like belts for carrying books, and he's got a bunch of grimoires, and he's like obviously like taking notes and very studious. And it almost seems as if he's maybe trying to talk to Ruby the halfling. Like he's
mm,
kind of like, "Hi, Ruby," but like he can't quite muster the courage to like say that, so he's kind of like hanging back, like kind of gripping his book belt, being like,
Hey, you, book kid. What's your name?
I'm like
and
eye
he's
to
like,
eye with
I'm
him because I'm that short.
that's right. So he's like, I'm Isaac.
Hi, Isaac. My name's Elroy. I was thinking about maybe coming here to school, but, I mean, between you and me, it seems like a pretty good school. There's, some pretty choice ladies.
And he's like, oh, you bet there are, but they're not very good students. I mean, I hardly even try, and I'm getting straight A's. They let pretty much anybody into this school as long as they have enough money.
Well, I'm
oh.
working on that. I mean, good to talk to you.
All right, so I'm gonna try and move this. So I shout, "I'm looking for Bob.
And
Anyone where I can find Bob?"
both of the two young ladies are like, "Ah, is he seriously talking to us? Like, I don't know, maybe if we just don't say anything, he'll just go away."
I'm gonna watch Isaac's
we're
reaction
looking.
to the name.
Or Bob.
Yeah, that's the idea. So I flit up to the girls and say, "I am indeed talking to you. Do you know where I might find Bob?"
And they say, no, we haven't seen him in a while. One of them's actually chewing like some kind of gum. Like she like pulls it out to be like really
Mhm.
gross. She's like, no, I don't know where Bob is.
I gotta tell you something. I heard that Bob really likes Ruby. What did you hear?
And Ruby's like, stop. Gross.
Oh, well, I know. I heard all about her. I know you don't like Bob, Ruby. Give me a break. I mean, come on. We all know he's not your type, but come on, what do you know? Like, come on,
And
what's the
then
latest?
Ruby is like,
Who does he like? I mean,
That bull
he's so
man can
odd
spill
guy.
the
I mean,
tea.
he's so cute. I mean, goddamn, he's so cute. I mean, I wish he would like me, but I know he doesn't. But who does he like? Who does he really like?
Who does he fancy?
so
You want to?
so Ruby in like an unnecessarily loud voice is like, gross. Like I would never with like a zombie janitor. Like I wouldn't like I'd sooner like have sex with Isaac, and like even then like I'd have to be so drunk.
Hey,
And they're like,
he's a
and
good
the other
man.
Clara's like, Ruby,
That's
you're so
mean.
bad.
So
And how is?
not you. But,
Now, how's
we-
Isaac reacting to all of this?
Isaac's like, and he kind of like runs off.
Oh,
Okay, I don't
Okay.
think that's the suspect.
Who does like him though? We know you don't like him, Ruby, but who does like him? We know you know who likes him.
Before that happens, Clara says to Ruby, like, you shouldn't be mean to Isaac. He's like totally helping me with that research project.
research project.
The research project. What research project are you talking about?
It's just for some dumb class.
Which class?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
for
thinking
that-
of becoming a student here.
It's for that quilty ghost. We call her
Quilty ghost?
Two-Ply.
That's pretty good.
But like to her face, that's bitchin'.
That's serious, yeah. So what sort of research does it involve? For the
She just
old
wanted us
two
to
play.
like learn about some creepy stuff. So
Oh,
I
Yeah, like
just
if I
figured
sign
I'd
up,
like
what do I have to study?
I just figure I'd like read up on barrow whites or something, but like Isaac is such a brain, he could just do it. And so I just asked him to, and he like really wanted to.
Wow.
t-
A
What's the
barrow
time?
white? What's a barrow white? I am ignorant.
let's go chase down. Okay, we got chase down our gnome. Sidle up
Okay.
to him.
Are you guys
Isaac.
gonna
Barrow white.
go run over and talk to Isaac?
Yeah, but I'm
Isaac.
gonna
Barrow.
like on the way
Wait,
past
we're-
the girls, I'm gonna be like, you know, he's gonna eventually graduate, and you're kind of questionable, and he's gonna go on to good things, and you treated him like trash. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The future is knocking, and this doesn't age well. Toodaloo.
Okay. Okay, so you chase after little nerdy Isaac, and like
Yeah.
his legs are like maybe a foot long, so like you catch up with him pretty quickly.
They do. It takes me a while.
Yeah.
What are you gonna ask him?
What's a better way? What's a better way? We heard you were asking the girls, and they wanted to talk about better. We're having the same class. We're in the same class, and we're in really desperate shape. We need you to tell us what a better way is.
Okay, so a barrow white is, so he tells you, a barrow white is
Yeah.
is a type of undead thing. It's an armored
Aye.
sentry.
Aye.
And
Up close and personal.
they typically guard something, either like a door or a treasure chest or a crypt or something like that, and they can guard it forever. They're effective. They're extremely difficult to kill, but they will always guard that one thing. That is what they are tasked with doing, and they're very powerful. And he says, oh, of course, the barrow white that we have living here in Dreadville, he has a very interesting story. His name is Njord, and Njord was tasked with guarding the door to a castle of some kind, but the door was actually made of wood, and after a couple hundred years, it just rotted away, and there's nothing left but this iron doorknob. And so because of what he was tasked to do, he now just has to guard this doorknob. Well, it worked out just fine because we just put the doorknob into the pool of blood in the sanctum inside the cathedral, and so he just guards the blood.
Ah.
Well, that's very fortunate. Hey, Isaac, you're better than those two. Just believe in yourself. Have a little confidence, man. Also, did you kill Bob?
He's like, no, I
Okay,
couldn't
just checking.
possibly
Just
kill
checking.
Bob.
Just checking.
He goes on to
stay
tell
at
you
school.
that Clara and Eunice and Ruby are all mediocre witches, like really bad witches. And
I mean, yeah, I
if
probably
you
could have
want
told you
to,
that.
if you want to give me some good persuasion rolls, he might be persuaded to convince you of even or tell you even more things.
I want Isaac to come on a road trip with us. I rolled a 1. Listen,
he's
man,
like-
you need to see the world. You need to tour Europe. Forget those bitches and just
Europe.
grow. That's it. We're gonna get Isaac laid. New mission.
Okay, so basically all he tells you, because you rolled so low, is that like Clara and Eunice and Ruby, they even cheated on their broomstick flight tests. They use fairy dust to help them fly. And he's like, I gotta go back to my studies. So he like puts his glasses back up on his nose, and then he's kind of like, nice talking to you, and he kind of like goes off
You
with
think
his
about
books.
it, man. You think about it. You could be a legend.
Let's maybe go back to the mayor's again and just see what we can see that we might have missed before.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody was maybe using Bob to maybe get something.
Yeah. And quick, before we leave the unit, just wanted to scan like the floor. Is there any wrappers here?
Yeah, there's wrappers everywhere.
Okay.
They
Cool.
need a
Mayor.
good anti-littering law.
Yeah, seriously. It's quite trashy here.
All right, to the mayor.
So the mayor, you go back up to the necropolis, and the mayor is looking around his office under papers and things like that. And he's like, where did it go? And he goes, Ava, dear, have you seen the key to the sanctum in the cathedral? I really need to find that key. I'm worried maybe it's gone missing.
Maybe Bob could help you find it.
Bob's gone, man.
What he's saying, he's trying to catch
What
him off guard.
What are you talking about? He's right there. I just hung my cloak on him.
All right.
But they didn't know it was Bob then. They didn't know it was Bob then.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Shit,
True.
Sorry, cat's out of the
So
bag.
Ava is like, oh, the key's right here, and she like pulls a key, and it's like a very obvious skeleton key. Like it has like a big like skull on it, and then it has like like a very ornate shape, and then the teeth that go into the lock mechanism, like they all look sort of like curled and ornate and unnecessarily embellished. And she kind of like hands it to him with her sort of sheet, and he takes it and he's like, oh, thank you, dear. Oh, this is you must have cleaned it. Okay.
I find it odd that a place with no crime and no locks needs a key. That's really weird.
So he puts it back in his pocket and he pats it and he says, the only thing that we have to take care of here in Dreadville, of course, is the blood. I mean, that statue, if anything were to happen to that statue, well, the whole town would fall apart. It would crumble. Vampires would have to go out and start hunting and eating, and we'd have to start killing people, and zombies would be killing people. I mean, everything would go back to the way it used to be. Horrible, horrible. No, we can't have that. So we have to keep that that statue under lock and key. It's the only thing that helps us to live in this peaceful utopia here that we call Dreadville.
Another sales pitch.
Just a quick question for you. This important thing. So the security on it is the key, and that's it, or is it protected by a giant, terrifying, magical golem?
So he takes the key out again, and he's like, oh, Ava, thank you. It's just very shiny. Oh, this is nice.
Why
and
is
he
that
says,
so clean?
Says, oh, it looks like it's brand new. Oh, Ava, she does such a great job. And he says,
wait a minute. Are you sure it's new and not a copy?
And he's like, well, why would anybody want to make a copy of a key?
I don't know. Like, people do some pretty screwed up shit. You know what I mean? If your whole town is revolving around this statue, then there's value to it, clearly.
And he kind of looks over at Ava, and he's like, Ava, did you do something? And she's like,
she did something.
He's
but
like,
it wasn't her
calm down. Tell me what happened. And Ava says, your key went missing, Mr. Mayor, and I didn't know what to do, so I went and I got a new one made. I had to go back, and I had to go back to the door, and I had to ask Arena, she's the silversmith, and she made a new key for you, and I think that maybe you wouldn't notice, but anyway, that's what happened.
Okay. Who has access to this key besides you? I mean, a key went missing. How could it go missing if it's so important? Like, why? I mean, for God's sake, your whole town is revolving around this goddamn key. How could it go missing? Who would have access to it besides you?
And he says, I keep the key in my drawer at all times, and besides, who in this town, this wonderful, happy, peaceful utopia for the undead, who would want to do anything to stop this?
There might be something to do with priests or outside influence.
Hmm.
But not
He
us.
says, well, that's what we have Kenji for. Kenji, I tell you, he's had to repel quite a number of zealots, crusaders, just fanatics, crazy people. They come, they try to destroy the town, they try to burn us down, they try to do anything. They call us scourges. You haven't been
Kenji's
called a scourge before? It's terrible.
Kenji's probably a bit bored, don't you think, from doing that? He's kind of stuck there, going back and forth. Maybe there's somebody who gave him a way out.
Well, I can't imagine how anybody would get in. Although there are plenty of people who would want to get rid of, this wonderful thing we have here. Not only are there crusaders, but druids too. I mean, everybody thinks that, it's wrong or unnatural for undead to be living the way they are. The way we are.
Is there any chance we could just go take a look at, make sure nobody broke into where that key opens? I mean, I don't want any blood though, but I'm just curious.
Okay. So he's like, that's great. That's a great idea. So he takes it. I feel like this mayor is turning into more and more like a Bernie Saunders type.
Yes.
Anyway.
I'm gonna go with that.
We need to tax all the people in the town.
So he takes the key, and together you rush towards the cathedral, and you go in, and you haven't had a chance to meet a bunch of characters, but there's like a great ghost in the cathedral who's in a burlap sack, and he carries these chains around just because he likes the idea of ghosts having chains. Like, it's great. There's a whole bunch of characters, but anyway, you get to the door. He sticks the key in the door. He opens it up, and he opens it, and there's somebody there who's gonna smash this statue. Who is it?
Who would smash the statue?
I don't trust the professor, but I think he's just a jerk.
Yeah.
You have the clues you need. If you, or any of you in the studio audience, can guess who's there.
It is somebody we met.
Yep.
It might be the first girl.
That's what I'm thinking too, because
Like a spur
Yeah,
lover.
Eunice.
people, they're crappy students. They have no future. They might have sort of bought their way in, kind of in a way. They have a way in. They have a way out. They're living.
Yeah, I think it's Eunice.
You want to? I don't know. I'm gonna put that in as my.
It's a cloaked
final-
figure, and we call out the name.
Hey, Eunice, stop.
You're right. All three of
Hey.
those girls are not witches, they're druids. And if you had checked more clues, you would have found that they had been shape-shifting and killing different undead things or destroying different undead things using their shape change ability. That's why they can't fly. That's why they needed to use fairy dust. That's why they've been cheating.
Witches.
Yeah.
Isaac.
So one of them has reached in to the pool of blood and has taken out the doorknob that she learned about through Isaac, and she's basically like hucks it across the room, and so the Barrow White, who typically guards the place, named Njord, goes over and kind of guards the corner of the room because that's where the doorknob is. And the other two, they're trying to lift this big, heavy sledgehammer. And Ruby's like, I'll do it. No, I should do it. I'll do it. And they're kind of fighting over it. And then you guys come into the room and you're like, da-da-da. And you're like, we found you out.
Gore.
And they say,
Yeah.
Fight.
Blunderbuss.
and they're going to say, you totally shouldn't have done that. And then all three of them do their shape change ability, and they turn into these three massive, hideous Lunarian worms. And the worms are striped. They're white, black, and purple stripes. And they all go, and when they hiss at you, their tongues come out, and their tongue is also a worm that's white, black, and purple striped.
Eee.
And then it opens its mouth to hiss, and then another worm comes out, and it is also white, black, and purple striped.
Getting Dr. Seuss horror nightmare vibes.
It's Beetlejuice.
They're Beetlejuice worms. They're the sandworms from Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I couldn't do an
It's all
entire
good.
episode in Dreadville without somehow like tipping my hat. Anyway,
Of course.
it's past midnight now. If you guys
We'll
want to
fight next
fight the Lunarian death worms, then we can for sure do that. Alternatively, I can just wave it and say you guys did a great job. You solved the mystery.
I think we
and you
need
will
to kill a
definitely
bit.
get the reward.
Yeah. I'm totally out of power though, so I
Yeah.
have to-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another time.
So I'm gonna say that a great battle was had, and you managed to fight off these Lunarian death worms using your
Their
various
wits.
abilities and EP.
At
I'm gonna say.
some point,
Anyways,
I wanted to be on register that I got to the doorknob and I jumped back into the pool of blood and I petrify myself around it so they can't lift it up.
that's cool.
Oh, very cool.
That totally happened. Oh, anyways, also when you slay the three worms and they all kind of like hit the ground and make the ground shake, suddenly these three like ghosts kind of stand up where the worms used to be, and one of them is like, Clara, oh, are we seriously doing this? And then Ruby is like, oh no, do we have to stay here? Oh, this is like the worst.
Nice.
Anyway,
And the
um,
epilogue is Road Trip with Isaac.
yes, road trip with Isaac. While
Oh,
you were
yeah.
doing that little road trip with Isaac,
It's
the-
spring break,
in
motherfucker.
exchange, as your reward, and because you're like beloved by the town of Dreadville, all of the skeletons who, don't forget, used to be pirates, they take your airship and they build it out. Like they
Sick.
build it out. Like this is a fully functional flying pirate ship.
We're still
now.
gonna call it the Dory though.
Yeah.
gambling
And
room?
I will tell you all about it, but you guys
Midnight
were all
Dory.
kind of wiped. So
All right, we do
Anyway.
need an episode name. What do we got? What do we want?
I feel like this episode should be called Vampire Racism. There was a lot of
I like. What about Bob?
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
That is
so
such a
good.
good name. All right. And Road Trip with
All right.
Isaac is the
Did we
after credit.
solve the mystery? Like, if we didn't solve the mystery, would we have not gotten the airship?
I was thinking that I might give you some equipment because you're missing a sword.
Oh
Yeah, I left it in the thing. He was so dejected. He's never been, like I said last time, he's never had his ass kicked like that before. It was a real wake up moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, your
Um,
Scottish accent is coming along, dude. That's pretty solid.
Indeed.
I mean,
Indeed.
I don't know anything. Maybe our listeners in Scotland will be like, "Fuck yeah."
Fuck this fucking guy.
Hey!
But hey,
Give me
all right.
It's a disgrace.
penny.
All right.
Well, thanks for the
Um,
game. That was a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
I
good
think
stuff,
I
you
will sign
guys.
us off the interweaves. And don't forget, internet, tune in next time, a week, I don't know, something, and click that like and subscribe and check out our next game if you get the chance. And take care. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Oh wait,
Oh, wait.
wait, one more thing. Do you guys remember how much time you were given to get the idol and come back to Aventale? Because there were a certain number of days that you had before Contessa Vincenza was going to cut the Tree of Wands.
Oh, what was it? 3 days? It wasn't much time.
It was 17 days.
17 days. Okay. So not
If
that much,
someone
okay.
asks how much time you have, you overestimate. If someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
Yes. Oh, Bo just he just dropped out. But anyway,
He said he
you've
was over there.
got not much
It
time
is
left.
low on
You got to get
battery.
back to Aventale.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But now we got to ride.
Mm-hmm.
And a crazy wizard gnome to come with us. I'm working that angle. I want a minion. All right.
Thanks,
That'll
everybody.
be my
I'm gonna
backup character. All right. Good night.
Thanks,
take
guys.
it easy,
Like,
everybody. Thanks, Brendan.
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks very much. All right, internet. I having some technical difficulties, so I will be getting our credit roll. We always run our credits, giving credit to the amazing musicians that make their Creative Commons music available to us. And big shout out to Alexander Nakarada and Kevin McLeod and many others. I do always do the proper credit roll, so let me go get that ready. I've got a workaround. I've got tricks on tricks over here, so do check that out in the visual stream. But I do post the credits or the attributions in the description as well. And one more time, if you don't mind clicking the like or subscribe, that would be amazing and a big help to us. So take care of yourselves, and we will see you hopefully in about a week or something. I don't know. If not, you can always check out our backlog. All right, I better get to it, and you have yourself a wonderful time, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.